Story 1. My job is to help companies comply with regulations. Now that the United Kingdom and the European Union are completely different legal territories, we can't just follow European Union law or import things from the European Union with no issue, so it's a lot harder to do pretty much anything. My salary has doubled since Brexit. Story 2. Honestly, not much for me personally. But collectively, as a society on the whole, it has been a mistake and a waste of time. Immigration is worse than before we left. Story 3. All of my colleagues agree it's a lot worse than before Brexit, and the impact on the United Kingdom's economic performance is about an £850 per capita loss, or about 2 to 3% less on economic growth than would be compared to staying in the European Union. The United Kingdom suddenly realized it had a terrible shortage of lorry drivers. Salaries for them skyrocketed. Farmers became desperate because of the sudden shortage of crop workers they needed to get the crops to the markets. And the biggest impact was the loss of access to the European Union's market, plus for many companies dealing again with customs declarations and tariffs. Some resolve this by opening up a branch in a European Union country, like Poland. The most amazing thing, though, is that die-hard Brexiteers still have no regrets. They still think it was the right thing to do, and that it is just the politicians being too inept to finally make the benefits of Brexit come true. The United Kingdom has a clear Brexit dent. On top of that came the Ukraine war since 2022. Story 4. Everything is much worse by almost any metric than 5 years ago. How much of this is due to Brexit? It is hard to quantify given things seem to have declined everywhere else too, but it has definitely had a net negative effect. The following are fairly indisputable and are directly linked to Brexit. Asterisk, it is much harder to move goods to and from the European Union due to more red tape and bureaucracy. Asterisk, United Kingdom musicians, to all intents and purposes, cannot work in the European Union because of the amount of bureaucracy. Asterisk, traveling in the European Union is harder and more time-consuming. Asterisk, science and research have taken a massive hit due to the loss of people and a reduction in European Union funding. I honestly cannot think of a single benefit. Story 5. Personally, everything is far more expensive than it ever was. This cannot be blamed entirely on Brexit, of course, as many other factors are in play, but it was an important factor nonetheless. Professionally, I am now embarking on a multi-million-pound project whose sole purpose is to mitigate the damage Brexit has caused for the rest of the company. Story 6. I was 16 when Brexit was voted for, so I can't quantify the difference in adult terms, but there seems to have been a paradigm shift for sure. Compounded with the pandemic, everything just feels different, less secure, the future seems bleaker, the economy is worse, and the job market is difficult, especially for a young graduate. Any hope of social mobility seems to have been torpedoed. When I was 16 to 18, I had the option to move to Slovenia and study for free, provided I learn the language and gain citizenship due to a grandparent being from there. My God, do I have my regrets placing my future in the United Kingdom instead? Story 7. My UK friend ran a small Etsy store to make a little money on the side. Brexit killed her business pretty much overnight. Something like 80 to 90% of her customers were in the European Union. Most of them stopped ordering once they had to pay customs for their orders. She went from about £200 a month in profit to less than £50. I know that's extremely small scale compared to some of the other comments in this thread, but it's a nice illustration of how these things impact regular people. Story 8. Well, my bills have tripled, the standards brought in through the European Union have gone, so living and customer service is now worse than ever. Oh, and the people who voted for the thing haven't stopped complaining about the costs and standards either, without a trace of irony. Story 9. It seems that the water companies started discharging raw sewage into our rivers and see the day after Brexit, as they were no longer inconvenienced by those pesky European Union rules and big fines. Also, I miss my Greek friends. A sizable number resigned their National Health Service careers and moved back to Europe. We lost some really good doctors, nurses, and medical technicians there. Story 10. Terrible. We shot ourselves in the foot, then had a global pandemic, a gas price crisis due to a war, and now are on the brink of President Baby's unhinged trade war. We're dealing with all the same problems other European countries are. We're just doing it now with one leg and one arm. It's hard to maintain hope when you used to pop to the shop for some Pepsi, bread, and a snack and spend a tenner. Now, it's hard to spend less than 20 quid on anything. My pay has gone up, but not by enough to improve, catch up, or even just maintain the standard of living I used to have, and I say this from a fairly privileged position. I had help from parents to buy a house and have a grandma with significant wealth who lends me money for big things. I can scarcely imagine how it is for some people without this support who are poorer. I love this country. I like being British. There's such beauty here in so many places. Great music, lovely people. At our best, we're progressive and tolerant, caring and kind. We innovate and work hard. We're flawed like everyone and have a pretty heavy burden from our past. But it's my home, and I see so much that could be great. But it's hard to live here these days and maintain hope. Story 11. I am still raw, bitterly angry, and I have resigned. I'll be like this for the rest of my life. The most idiotic decision our country has made in at least the last 100 years. Story 12. I live in Ireland, not the United Kingdom, but I'll answer because Brexit has had a big impact on us. I used to work for the Irish Postal Service as a counter clerk, and it made my job so much harder. Adding a stamp and sending a parcel or letter had to be swapped out for full customs declarations. This was especially problematic for Amazon returns, which often couldn't be sent due to their contents, as Amazon acts like Ireland doesn't exist until Amazon Ireland launches this year, hopefully. We also processed passport applications for the Department of Foreign Affairs, with a huge number of British people with Irish ancestry applying. The government preemptively invested in the passport service because we knew it would happen. The upside is that the passport service is now amazing. You can order a renewal online and get it within a few days. Irish passports are now even more powerful, as Irish citizens are the only ones with full freedom of movement for both the European Union and United Kingdom. Some companies moved their European headquarters here from London, but not enough to outweigh the loss in trade with the United Kingdom. Cross-border trade with Northern Ireland is way up, though. Northern Ireland, luckily, seems to have a functioning government again, thankfully due to its semi-permeable status within the European Union single market. But it took a long time to get right, and it's definitely fragile. Sinn Féin, the biggest nationalist party, is now the largest in government, but unification is still unlikely for the next decade at least. We're far from ready for it anyway. There has been a noticeable drop in students from the United Kingdom due to the end of the Erasmus scheme for them. I have friends from all over Europe thanks to college, but none from the United Kingdom. We're definitely moving closer to the continent, with people increasingly choosing to move to the Netherlands or Germany compared to the past, where it was almost all United Kingdom, United States, and Australia. Anglo-Irish relations took a bit of a hit because of the complete lack of conversation around Northern Ireland before the vote and some questionable comments from Tory members of Parliament about it. But Keir Starmer's government seems to be rectifying that somewhat, thankfully. I do wish the best for my friends across the water and hope they will eventually rejoin. I hope we'd all welcome them back with open arms. European cooperation is more important now than ever before. Story 13. The cost of everything has soared while the quality has declined. I hate waiting in the non-European Union queues at airports. The far-right and bigots are getting way too comfortable. Nothing that the Leavers voted for has come to fruition. There is more illegal immigration, the National Health Service is still failing due to lack of funding, and crime rates are out of control. Morale is low. Story 14. My passport expires in 2026. And I am so angry that I will have to trade it in for one of those hideous blue ones. In the grand Brexit situation, it is a small and petty thing to be angry about, but every time I look at it, I'll be reminded that more than half of my fellow citizens made a poor decision. I want a new trade deal with the United States. They can have our Brexit voters in exchange for their Harris voters. Just wanted to add another tangible difference that is less flippant. Without European Union regulations, there is now so much more raw sewage polluting our rivers and shores. We used to go wild swimming in the summer, and now it's just not worth the risk. We don't even let our dogs near the water. Story 15. Looking back on Brexit, do you feel there were Russian troll farm chatbots spreading propaganda and encouraging you to split the United Kingdom? I ask this because I am noticing a worldwide trend of online propaganda leading to societal discourse. It's looking less like a natural occurrence and more like a highly intelligent psychological operation to divide and conquer democratic countries. The exact same methods are being used to try and get American states to leave the United States. This seems more and more obvious as current events occur. Currently, Trump is feeding into it because he wants to be a dictator. Story 16. Annoying, frustrating, and needlessly expensive. It's not like the United Kingdom population was warned of the consequences, and yet due to underhand tactics and voter apathy, we sunk ourselves. However, now the United States has top-trumped us, we don't look as stupid for now. Story 17. The worst part for me is that the people who caused a lot of this situation are on track to be in opposition. And they are a limited company, not a normal political party, which for me completely undermines our political system. The fact that most people now think Brexit was a mistake, but a significant number of them want to vote for a limited company that used to be called the Brexit Party, is crazy. I don't care if people voted for Brexit or what their reasons are, but I do care that people are now looking at the least qualified people imaginable. The party is just single-issue reactionary. They don't provide any substance to solve issues, they just point them out to make people angry and get support that way. Story 18. I personally don't feel like my life has been affected by Brexit, good or bad. Now, if you're talking United Kingdom governments, yes, my life has been hit, and it's down to them and their policies, but it's hitting everyone in similar ways. Since the pandemic, it's gotten worse still. Story 19. I left a logistics company as the impact came in. They had to pause almost all deliveries in the United Kingdom for an extended period due to United Kingdom companies being overwhelmed by paperwork. Many warehouse workers, some of them my friends, lost their jobs. A family member has lost a factory job because they manufactured tractors, which are now struggling to sell in the European Union due to Brexit. I personally now struggle to purchase specialist electronic goods because they are sold out in the United Kingdom, and purchasing from the European Union involves additional costs and overheads. And every holiday I have in a European Union country is now a pain at the airport because of the queue times. It's insane to compare that to my teenage years and childhood, where we just walked through the European Union gate. So far, I have not seen much sovereignty arrive as a result of these pains. Story 20. It's like we convinced that really stupid part of our brain to do something mad at a party as a joke, but then we ended up with a broken neck and very little hope that we can ever fully recover. Story 21. I'm a community pharmacist. It has made existing drug shortages worse, and the patients most reliant on many of these drugs are often the elderly, who overwhelmingly voted to leave. A true leopards eating faces scenario. Story 22. Just patiently waiting for all those awesome benefits to materialize. Should be soon. Any day now. Just wait and see. I mean, why would those in power with their own self-interests lie to us? Can't wait for all those juicy Brexit promises to bear fruit. Story 23. I work in parts logistics, and Brexit has been nothing short of a disaster. We used to be able to place a European order at 4:30, and it would be here fixing a machine the following morning. Now it takes a minimum of 3 to 4 days for the same thing. That machine is lost revenue to the United Kingdom businesses, and we can't hold masses of extras in stock, as it is classed as dead money. But it's okay because the boat stopped and the red bus promise came true. Story 24. The company I work for has had to essentially stop all European Union trade because of the legal hoops they now need to jump through. The margins were always slim, but now they are non-existent. Within 2 years after Brexit, they laid off about 15% of the staff. We're still not up to pre-Brexit turnover because there simply aren't enough customers for our product in the United Kingdom. So not good for us. But at least I still have a job and no sign of a pay rise. They were also suspended until Brexit changes blow over. Also, good luck finding organic chicken. Or any chicken that isn't made of rubber balloons. Story 25. It's been the exact situation everyone predicted, and I cannot think of a single positive. Every single concern I had going in has manifested. Every single risk has been realized with little to no mitigation. Every single large sector has suffered. We drastically weakened our economy and position in the global order. We threw away single market access for the promise of trade deals which we have not made. We promised huge cash injections for healthcare which we cannot afford. Immigration is more contentious than ever. We left for nothing but the short-term financial gains of very few. We were pulled into this mess by young people's unwillingness to vote and the relatively risk-free vote of those over 65 who had been bombarded with anti-European Union propaganda for years. The European Union is not perfect, and there are plenty of facets I would not join or support as the United Kingdom, but I have yet to hear a single compelling argument that Brexit has been a success. It's been a massive risk that has not paid off, at the expense of the average United Kingdom taxpayer.